So the new T3s have arrived. The rear T3s are still not in the UK as of today, the 7th of November. So they are about to arrive imminently, mid-month I've been told. So we should have those in because I've already taken quite a lot of pre-sale orders. So I'll be getting those out to you very, very soon. Now I've already installed a set of T3s to a customer's motorbike that was in here last week. Now his ones were complete plug and play. Now the plug and play plugs, they're not with me either. They're not in the UK either. So I had to make those myself for the customer. But the point is, his front T3s were wired directly into one of his CanSmarts. He had two CanSmarts. Now, with the full plug and play setup for the T3s, well, then you have access to all of the functions that the CanSmart offers, like strobing. You can dim them. As long as you set it to 2-wire dimming, you can dim the T3s from 0% up to 100%. So you can use them for dipped and for full beam, but I don't think that's really what they're for. The whole idea of the T3 is you can have it as a marker, like a little DRL marker light on the side. So the one I did the other day, I did it on the front here. On this bike, we're going to fit it just here, I think. We're going to put it just here, but he's only got one CanSmart, and he's already got his CanSmart running his D7s. So he's got one circuit for his D7s. He's got 2 circuits for his S4s. And he's got 1 circuit for his rear light, and then he's got his sound bomb wired in independently through a relay. So we've got no spare circuits to run his T3. So what we're going to do, because Denali claim that the T3 is campus friendly, so I believe. I don't know whether that's the whole T3 or whether that's just for the turn signals. I haven't done one yet. I haven't installed one to the bike itself without going through the CanSmart. So let's see what we can do. Let's get started. Reading the instructions that come with the T3, you've got a single intensity DRL wiring configuration, and you've got a dual intensity DRL configuration. From looking at it, we're going to wire it up as a dual intensity DRL, and if the customer wants to run it as a single intensity, in other words, it's just going to be a run light and an indicator, so it won't come on as at full beam, then we can just disconnect one of the wires. So going back to the colours I mentioned, on the wiring coming from the T3, you've got black, green, orange and red. Black is obviously ground, green is the turn signal wire, and red is to the low beam, and orange is to the high beam. First of all, what we have to do is start stripping the bike down. I'm not going to show you that in this video. If you want to see that one, I'm sure a lot of you have already seen it, but click on the video up in the link, and that will take you to a video I did last week, how to strip down the GSA or the GS if you're doing this to a GS. Okay, roll over to another day. Before I turn it on, just so you know, I've turned the S4s off. So when we turn it on, you're just going to get the OEM light come on along with the T3s. Here we go. Now I've positioned the camera very purposely there because it's around about the driver's height. So if you are sat in a car, this is the kind of view you're going to have of this bike if you're sat in your car. And as you can see the T3s perfectly from the front, and also I'll show you from the side, you can see them perfectly there as well, can't you? So I think they're really, really ideally positioned. Now you might think, oh, they're sticking out, but they're not, because if you look at the side of the bike here, it's well, it's hard to tell from where you're looking, but the actual handlebars come out a lot further than the T3s, but also the engine bars come out further than the T3s as well. So yeah, sure, if you were to drop the bike, well, you're going to do a lot of damage to your bike anyway, aren't you? If you were to drop the bike and it was to roll a bit more top side over, you're going to crush that T3 in. But you would with the S4, you would with your OEM spots if you had them on there. Now, I've actually fallen off my GS in the past with D7s, D4s, and I didn't do any problems with it at all. I actually threw it down the road at 60 miles an hour. So it was it was remarkable how no damage came to any of my Denali stuff at all. It was just crash bar damage. Also, have a look at how I tidied up the wiring, because I know a lot of you watching this can be thinking, I can't believe you've cut into your OEM harness. Well, you know, don't be afraid of doing that. You know, how was the harness made in the first place? The harness gets cut in places and teed off, and it really doesn't matter by cutting into a harness, as long as you know what you're doing, or you have a professional doing it for you. And we're using posi taps, and the posi tap is a pinprick. It's a pinprick going into the side of the selected wire. That's it. Once that posi tap is in the wire, we then thread the other part of the wire into the top of the posi tap, and you're done. So as you can see, what I've done with my wiring is I've taken the BMW tape covering back. I've very, very carefully, using a Stanley blade, cut that tape back to reveal all the wires. It's the yellow wire that I wanted, and I've tapped into that, and then I've used the original BMW tape again to wrap it all back up again so it looks nice and neat. Now, this BMW tape, I've tried to source this for years, because I make another product for the R90, and I like the harness for the rear light for the R90 that I do. I like it to be wrapped in this, so when you open the packaging you get this BMW OEM feel to the harness with the BMW plugs on the end of it, because it's a complete plug and play harness. So I buy this in bulk, so if you want to buy this tape from me, because you can't buy it anywhere other than BMW directly, and some parts department don't even know what it is either, depending on which dealer you're using. So if you want to buy this, I'll put a link down in the description, and you can buy this tape from me as well. It's not cheap, but it's the exact same tape that your OEM harness is already wrapped in. God, I waffle, don't I? Right, so I've turned the S4s off so we don't confuse anything. So I'm going to indicate left. As you can see, it mirror images the OEM turn signals. There's not going to be any delay there at all, which you can sometimes get with the CanSmart, because it's coming from a different supply, if you like, because this is actually tapped into the BMW harness, and there is no fault error on the TFT whatsoever. This is exactly what Denali say it is. It is a canvas friendly product. And the other side, oh actually sorry, take note, as I cancel indicator, watch the T3. You ready? So that side. Ready? Cancelling now. Pop. Comes back on again. Isn't that neat? Now if I put the S4s on, so this is probably how the owner of this bike is going to be riding his bike. So he's got his S4s on at 20% brightness, I think a 20 or 30% brightness. He's got his T3s on. What a friggin' sexy, stunning DRL setup. And when he indicates, so I'm going to indicate left, so indicate left. I'm getting confused because I'm looking at a monitor down here. Obviously it's not quite mirror image. So I'm going to indicate left, and you'll see the S4 goes off on my side, stays on the other side, and as I cancel the indicator, S4 comes on, and on comes the T3. Now what I really like about this is when I turn the ignition off, watch this. See, they're staying on and off they go. That's a really nice finish. But you can also, if you don't want to wire these into the yellow wire coming off the back of the headlight plug, which is what I've done, you can wire it directly up to the switch to live on the fuse block under the seat. What that'll do is give you up to 30 seconds before the T3s turn off. That is an option for you if you wanted it, and it wouldn't drain the battery. It just means they're going to stay on for a good 30 seconds after the headlights turned off. You know, when you're on your bike and you turn it off and you see the sat nav say, do you want to switch off now or let it run for 30 seconds or keep it on? That's what that is. So it's kind of like a follow me home kind of thing. I might do that when I get my new bike in. So I might fit that feature on there because I kind of like that. That's it. So that's the front T3s wired in to the bike, not the Can Smart. And as I said, if you do wire these into the Can Smart using the plug and play plugs provided by Denali, well then you'll be able to do more things like all the full dimming feature, high low beam, and you can make them strobe when you pull the flasher. Obviously on here the S4s, the D7s will strobe because I've got them wired into the Can Smart, or if you have the T3s going into the Can Smart, it would do that. But the only downside to that is the T3s require a lot of circuits, so you probably need to double up your Can Smarts. However, you might be thinking to yourself, well, I don't want S4s, I don't want D4s, I don't want D7s, but I do like these T3s. And I wouldn't mind the Can Smart, and I wouldn't mind a sound bomb. So you could have your horn and have a set of T3s, front and rear, and only use up 4 circuits. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave me a thumbs up, leave a comment, and if you haven't already, subscribe. See you in the next video. Meanwhile, stay safe behind those bars. These bars.